What if the career you started was never the final destination, but it was actually preparation for an opportunity that you couldn't see just yet? Today's guest began his real estate journey while working full time as a paramedic. And at first, getting his license was simply a way to support his wife's growing real estate business. He thought he would be her assistant, and as he jokingly says, her security. But one decision led to another. He became an agent, and then an investor in a market center, and then a productivity coach, and then a business owner, and eventually the operating principal and owner of a Keller Williams Market Center. In this conversation, Jeremy shares what 6 years of doing double duty taught him about service, about systems, about investing, about discipline, and about recognizing the opportunities that are right in front of you. And he shares a simple way to think about your database and your relationships that may completely change how you approach your real estate business. So let's get into today's conversation. Welcome back to the Double Duty Agent Podcast. I'm your host, Carla Higgins, and I am so glad you're here. If you're listening from your car or on your lunch break, between appointments, or maybe while trying to squeeze in a little encouragement after a very full day, I want you to know something. You are exactly where you need to be. You do not have to have it all figured out. You do not have to do everything all at once. And you do not have to build your real estate business in a way that pulls you away from the life that you are working so hard to create. This podcast is your place to breathe, reset, and focus on what matters most. In season 3, we are getting focused for more clarity, more consistency, more income producing, and more confidence in what we are building. We will be talking about weekly intentions, consistent action, simple systems, support, adjustment, and the kind of momentum that is built one aligned step at a time. Because this is not about hustle. This is about building by design. Alignment gave us clarity. Now focus will help us turn that clarity into momentum. So let's dive in. Welcome back. I am so excited you are here because I have got an amazing story to share with you today. I have Jeremy with me. I know a little bit about Jeremy's story. I am excited to learn it alongside with you. And it starts as an amazing double duty story that ends, well, there's a surprise ending. So we'll see where the surprise ending comes from. Jeremy, thank you so much. I'm so excited
Thank you, Carla.
that you
I
are
appreciate
here.
you. I appreciate you inviting me. I look forward to sharing.
Well, we've tried this for a while, and then we tried this a couple times, and we are going to get it right. We're going to get this story told. So I'm so
Absolutely.
excited.
I'm ready.
All right, Jeremy. Well, let's start where we always start, at the beginning, and that's not the very, very beginning, but the very beginning of your real estate journey. What were you doing when you decided to get your real estate license?
In 2014, I was a full-time paramedic. My wife was a full-time real estate agent. And in Little Rock, Arkansas, there's a very sad story where a broker had been kidnapped and murdered. And it really made me think differently about working with my wife and what that could mean. I always joked and said that I was going to be head of security. And I felt like that I just needed to be around more. I had been helping her a lot on my off time. I had a great schedule as a paramedic. I worked 24 on, 48 off. So I had plenty of time. Her real estate career was very successful at the time. So she needed the help. I needed to spend more time with her. I wanted to make sure she was protected. So I just dove in, and to see what this was about, I was amazed at what I learned and how interesting it was to see how real estate just makes everything function. Everything's hinged on your real estate. Where you can live, can you afford to live in the place that you want? That means, what job can I get here? Can I live the way that I want? Can I have the home that I want? It's just interesting.
It is, and it seems like a really interesting connection point. So as a paramedic, you're helping people. In real estate, you're helping people. So While they might seem wildly different, they seem like there's a really good connection point between the two.
It's interesting because I told my wife one day, I said, "You're going to be so proud of me. I'm going to be really good at this." And as I thought, hey, I've got this down. I can connect with people. I had so much to learn. She taught me so much. There was a day of realization that I did have a lot to learn, that I may not be as good as I wanted to be right out of the gate.
As good as well. Don't we all think that? We have a
We
vision
do.
of how it's going to be when we get started, and it doesn't work out quite like we thought it was going to, right?
And
So
it didn't.
it
And
seems
it
to work
didn't.
out. You had a good mentor.
I did. I had a great mentor. I
Awesome.
still share the lessons that she taught me, the lessons that she had to learn the hard way.
Well, we're going to talk about some of those today. Okay, so let's go back. So you're getting your
Absolutely.
real estate license because you're going to be security and
That's right. Head
assistant,
of security.
head of security and assistant to your wife for her real estate business. And now you've got your real estate license. You're going to continue being a paramedic and do that.
I was, and I did that for 6 years.
6 years.
I got my license at the end of 2014, and I ended up fully retiring from EMS in 2020, in April of 2020. That was just a hard thing because I thought I was at the top of my game in that world. I had
Mm.
worked my way up through the ranks. I had learned a lot about business. I was given a lot of responsibility from my service that I worked for. So it was a bit of a hard change for me, but I had always wanted to be in business for myself. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I just didn't know what that was going to be yet. I didn't know the opportunity that I had in real estate at the time.
Well, I know previously you shared with me a story about when you were first getting your paramedic's license, and somebody kind of put the thought in your head about being a business owner.
Yes, absolutely. I was in paramedic school. We would do OR rotations where we had to do intubations and skill stations like that. So it was a slow day at the hospital. We were in the break room waiting for the next case, and one of the anesthesiologists, just out of the blue, started talking to me and said, "Hey, who do you think is the most financially stable in life?" And of course, I said anesthesiologist, and he laughed and he said, "Well, no." And he began to explain to me the value of being a business owner. And he started to draw on a dry erase board about the years that he had spent building his education in medical school and his residency and building a practice. And he showed me how yes, my income increased, but then it starts to plateau. And at the end of my career, he said, hopefully I've invested wisely so that I can continue to live whenever I can no longer work. He said, but if I would have done the same thing and I would have grown a business over that 10 to 12 years that I spent in medical school, and then I started hiring people who could manage my business, when I retire, my business keeps going and it keeps growing. And it was just such an amazing message for me, and it changed my thinking. It made me always be looking for my opportunity. I started a couple of other businesses. I did a fence building business. We built fences and decks. It's called Privacy by Design, similar to
Double duty by
Double Duty by
design. There
Design,
you
but that's
go.
what it was. I didn't put that together till just now.
Ah, that's fun.
But yes, and so I started an air ambulance company one time with a fixed wing service. But unfortunately, wrong people, wrong time. It just didn't work out. But I was always looking for that opportunity to become an entrepreneur. And quite honestly, I never thought it was going to be in real estate. My wife is a real estate superstar, and that was her thing. And I didn't see my opportunity in that. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it as a business. And it wasn't until I got in it that I started to see how it makes the world go round.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's such an important point is that just because something doesn't work the way we thought it was going to, we take something with us when we move on to the next thing and we move on to the next thing. Even after we get our real estate license, Jeremy, and we're gonna have the big reveal at the end so they can see where you've ended up. But you take a little bit and you carry it with you all the way along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so let's go back to that first 6 years when you were actually double duty agent.
Yes.
And I know you mentioned earlier you have kind of a unique schedule because you work 24 hours on, 48 hours off, and you're
Right.
also kind of on a team,
Right, right. So
life
we had a
team, and
very
a basic real estate
successful,
team.
yes, and in 2018 we had the opportunity to buy in as investors. Keller Williams came to town. We didn't have a local Keller Williams, and we were working for the largest brokerage in town, or in our MLS, and it was a locally owned business. The family had owned it for a long time. There was no opportunity for us to be business owners there, though. And when Keller Williams came to town and we started hearing everybody, including our broker at the time, really upset about the things Keller Williams was doing, we thought, I wonder what they're doing. Let's go take a look. And so we saw that we had an opportunity when we heard what KW was and the story behind it. It sounded like all of the things that we felt to be valuable as well. It was the right culture, the right people, the right train of thought. And so we got an opportunity to move over and buy in as investors. And it was just an amazing journey starting from there. I became the productivity coach during that time. So not only was I a full-time paramedic, I was also a productivity coach. I love
And
that.
an agent.
And an
That's
agent.
triple duty,
That's
Jeremy.
triple duty. That's triple duty. But we really learned a lot about leverage during that time. I'll tell you a short funny story, which was,
Okay.
it seems like to me that every agent who we get, coming from another brokerage, there's about this 3-week point where there's so much that they can learn from KW. There's so much leverage and talk and all of these things that they've never been poured into with. My wife turns to me at about that 3-week point and she goes, "You figure out all this Keller Williams stuff. I'm going to be over selling real estate."
I got to go back to work.
I got to go to work. And so we had such a successful business, she really couldn't slow down enough to start implementing the pieces. So
Yeah.
she leveraged me for that. So I learned about the first piece and I just applied that piece. And we applied one piece at a time until it became easier for her. And it really helped us incorporate and now start to run like a well-oiled machine.
I love that, Jeremy. That's so much the 6 personal perspectives, which Gary Keller teaches us, which it's the E to P, right? We go from being entrepreneurial to being purposeful, or I always say easy to painful. And and so she was doing what was natural for her, and what was natural for her had built this really big business. And she fortunately had you to do the purposeful part, to bring in the
Right.
systems and the models and all of the things, and then incorporate them back. So I love that. So Jeremy, when you think back to that time where you're bringing the things from Keller Williams and bringing them to your wife's business, what do you think were the most important 1 or 2 that you implemented that made a big difference for her?
The first easy piece was just embracing a showing scheduling service. No one in town was using a showing scheduling service. Now it's the norm. But at the
Right.
time, no one was using it, and it was frustrating to agents. Thought, well, that's not person to person. That's not personal enough for me and my clients. I prefer to contact them directly. Well,
And hope they answer their phone.
and answer their phones. Well, guess what? Your clients don't want to get all those phone calls either. They would just as soon you make this whole process easy.
Simple and easy.
So yeah, that was just one of the
That's
things,
awesome.
and
Yeah.
understanding the 6 personal perspectives, and like you said, becoming purposeful about structuring our business, and not just taking the business as it comes and holding on for dear life, really changed our whole process.
Yeah. For a lot of people, it's database too. So a lot of times I know when agents come over, they don't really have a formal, structured thought about database. They all have one. We all have a phone, and it's a database, right? It's got all the information in it, but really creating that system around database.
I never heard the word before.
Yeah,
I was at
okay.
Keller Williams. Nobody talked about database. Nobody talked about managing your database. And when we did learn that, and we started to put it all together, and this was prior to Command, but it was starting, and we were starting to work with it, starting to pull all of our contacts in one place. We, like most agents, were scattered. We had some in our phone, some in our MLS data, some in our email data, and so we had to pull it all
Some
together.
on
But
post-it
no,
notes.
yeah, nobody told us that it was important to be structured. And I thought, wow, how better could we be just really great friends to our clients, but by setting ourselves reminders to reach out and say
Yeah,
hello.
no kidding.
And it's
Happy
as simple as
birthday.
that,
Yeah.
right? I tell our agents all the time, we're professional friends.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Professional
We're
friends.
professional friends. And, 7 out of the 10 years, I'm just here to be your friend and to give you advice, to help you find the right leverage. Who do you need? You need a plumber? You need an electrician? I got you. How can I help? And then, every 7 to 10 years, right, somebody wants to pick up and move, and we're there and we're staying top of mind because we've been professional friends this whole time.
I love that. I actually tell people we turn this into math, right? When you get a brand new agent, if people are moving every 7 to 10 years, that means probably 10% of everyone you know is going to need your help for real estate in the next 12 months. The problem is they don't know it right now. Their
Exactly.
wife hasn't told them yet they're moving.
But what they do need is somebody to repair the deck,
Yeah.
or to fix the lighting in the back room,
Send them
or
a
a
plumber,
plumber.
whatever.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's
I
where we
always
can bring
think
value.
down there in Arkansas, do they have Angie's List? You have
Not
Angie's List?
anymore. That's kind
Not
of
anymore.
faded away.
Well, there would have never been an Angie's List if the darn real estate agents were doing their job.
100%.
And
That's
she made a lot
absolutely
of
right.
money, Angie.
Hmm. She did. It was a
She
great
made a
business
lot of
model.
money. Yeah, yeah.
But you're right. If we had been doing our
Good
jobs,
job. It wouldn't
and
have happened.
really, it wasn't for lack of trying, but nobody told us that key piece. And if you don't know what your database is and you don't know how to talk to it and work with it, you can't remember all of those
You're
things.
not going to remember everything. You're not. And you end up being transactional based. You're just
You
focusing
do.
on the next transaction and you're not looking at the big picture. So,
And you hope
okay.
you did a good enough job so that they
They'll
remember
always
you.
remember you. Yes.
But you can't do that good of a job.
No, you can't. And you have to have conversations.
That's right.
We talk all the time. Conversations are what leads to appointments. It all starts with a conversation. And we have to have conversations in those 7 years that they're not buying or selling. We have to have conversations about something. We might as well have conversations about, is there something I can help you with?
Exactly.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So 6 years, we're going to fast forward a little
6
bit
years.
now. 6 years, you make the decision. And I know you mentioned that it was a difficult decision to make. Tell
It
me about the
was.
decision to become full-time real estate.
Well, I'll tell you, the first mental block was that as a paramedic, I felt like I was really good at what I did. I felt like it was a calling. I felt like it was what I was supposed to be doing. So, in order for me to get out of my own way and to really listen to where I was being called to now, it was difficult. And I probably held on a little longer than I should have. I had a great opportunity in real estate. Now I'm an investor in a market center. I'm a productivity coach. We have a wildly successful team. I didn't need to stay on that ambulance, but boy, did I get a lot from it. I loved it. Unfortunately, I injured myself. I've injured myself a couple of times, and in February of 2020, I injured my neck, and I held on until about April before I actually went in to see the doctor because I was worried about what he was going to tell me. I was worried that I was going to have to be forced to make this transition. And he didn't force me to. He just said, if you don't, you're going to need surgery sooner than later. So I just had to make the difficult decision to in my eyes, it was pulling myself down in my career to a business that I don't really know well.
Yeah.
I'm a glorified assistant at best. I'm a showing assistant. I'm not writing contracts. I'm not working through URSAs or any inspection repairs. I'm not working through all the things that my wife is doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Am I ready for that? And there was a mental shift in that for me.
It's the story you were telling yourself. Also, I'm
Yeah,
I'm gauging the timing, Jeremy. Why might have been a gift from the universe knowing what happened in 2020.
exactly. 2021 was our best year we've ever had. We sold over 120 units that year. We had again a great career, and there's no way that I could have gone through 21 without being full time in. It was
I
completely a
also not
godsend.
also not sure I would have wanted to be a paramedic during COVID.
Well, that's true too. Those guys struggled, and I'll
I
tell you,
bet.
I felt a little bit like I should have been there with them.
Yeah,
That was
I
hard
could see
too.
that. I could see that. Yeah. All right. So we've made the switch now to full-time real estate. It's the go time because
It's go time.
everything's crazy. And let's see. What's the next logical? We're going to tell them what happened next. Okay? Let's go ahead and give them the
Yeah.
rest of the story. So, Jeremy, you get through that, you get through busy season, and then recently something else
Well,
started changing, right?
let me tell you a little bit of that build up, though. I think it's
Okay, all
important to
right, give me in
note.
between then. Okay.
I started purchasing rental property in 2015.
Investing.
I started investing, and it was probably a little bit later than we should have, but we were nervous, and we were nervous investors in the beginning. 2015, we bought our first rental property. We did a little bit of work to it, and then we quickly bought three more right behind it, and we did some work to it. So during that 6 years of being, a paramedic and a productivity coach and a real estate agent, I was also working on property, building up a base. My thought was, if I can get 10 properties and pay them off, I could leave EMS, and it would be my retirement.
Yeah.
So building those, our goal was 10. Well, during that 6 years, we actually got to 15.
Okay. Overachiever.
We overachieved a little bit. And, in those great COVID years, we disciplined ourselves to a salary. We looked at the average income of what a real estate agent makes in the state of Arkansas, and at the time it was something like 38,000. So we paid each other. I paid 40,000 to her, 40,000 to me, and we were very disciplined to live off of that 80,000 a year, which is a fine living. There's nothing right. That's a great living.
That's great living.
So
In
we
Arkansas, maybe.
all
Maybe
of
not
it,
California.
yeah. So all of those, that's true. So all of that extra income we would put back into those rental properties and those real estate investments. So that set me up for a financial
Yeah.
stability that I never had before.
That's fabulous. I love it. I've heard Gary Keller say that, this is the only industry that he knows of where insider trading is permitted. This
Exactly.
is a really great thing for real estate agents, any of our listeners to think about, right? Should they? Should they
Should they?
consider?
And when
I've
you
been,
build a real estate portfolio like this, and it becomes the norm that your wife comes home and says, "Hey, I bought a house today."
yeah.
Oh, great. What'd you get? That's the
What
that's the
color is
world
it?
in which I get to live in, and it's crazy to think that
Yeah.
that's
No,
where
that's
we're at.
awesome. I love that. But it started with one, right? It's
Started
not
with
like you
one.
started with 15, you started with
No,
one.
I
And
started
then
with one. I
yeah.
did the work myself. I don't do the work anymore. That's hard on my body. I'm 50, and I don't want to do all the work, but I still do a lot of it. I still do some.
Yeah. Things you enjoy, and then you pass off the things that you don't.
So it set me up for a great opportunity. It was that investment into our financial stability that gave us an opportunity that the beginning of this year we had an opportunity to buy out our investors. They gave us this opportunity to own the market center at 100%. And as of June of this year, just last month, everything was finalized through KW, and our future looks great. And we're so
I love
excited
that.
to be at the helm. I got to be I'm the OP now, and
Operating
we're
principle. For
yes,
those
I'm the
people that
operating
don't know what
principal.
OP means,
That's
we
what
have all
that
of our little
means.
Keller acronyms.
Yes. And
OP, the OP.
so it's a great opportunity for us, to who knows, what other investors might want to come in, and that we actually get to work with, and we're just excited to lead the way. We've been so blessed with so many opportunities. My wife has taught me so much in real estate. I have got to pour into so many agents as a productivity coach over the several years that I love this place that I get to be right now.
I love that. I'm seeing a through line though, right? As a paramedic, we're changing lives. right? Saving them,
Exactly.
right? You're
Yeah.
changing lives. And then as a real estate agent, you're changing lives. You connect them with the house that they can afford, that gives them the life that they want to live, right? And then even as an investor, you're changing lives, yours and also the people that are living in your properties. And now you get to change more lives. Well, as a coach, I know how you change
Exactly.
lives as a coach. You're my fellow coach, I know that. But now you get to change lives in a different way, because you get to help agents and soon to be agents learn how to build a business. So you get to take that anesthesiologist story, what he handed to you, and you get to hand it to others on a regular basis.
And you know, I don't forget that. I wish I knew his name.
Well, maybe he'll hear the podcast and he'll call you and say, "Hey, you were on a podcast. I know you."
I hope so. I would love to buy him dinner.
I love that. I love that very much. All right, Jeremy, when you think of this awesome journey that you've been on, and let's connect this back to our listeners who are double duty agents that may be just getting started, or they may be asking themselves, can they really be successful? They're worried that maybe they've made a mistake, or maybe like you, they're like, I don't want to give up my other job. And realizing that you did it for 6 years, you don't necessarily have to. What would be your top advice that you would give them?
An opportunity to serve is an opportunity to serve. Whether I was in the EMS world serving in that capacity, or I'm in the real estate world and where you're dealing with the biggest purchase that you've ever made. The stress level is high in both instances. And being able to be there to walk someone through it, to give them comfort and security, that's really what we're delivering. I'm not selling homes, I'm selling an experience. And if I think back to my EMS career, what I told students, what I always tried to instill in them is that 80% of what we do in EMS is comfort. If you will just help them feel less fearful, if you will hold their hand, if you will tell them that it's going to be okay, if you will explain to them what's going on, they're afraid. Our clients are a lot of times afraid. You know, fear and anxiety and excitement, they all look exactly the same. Your
They
nerves
do.
are up, your heart rate's up, you're breathing heavy. Adrenaline is adrenaline. And so helping people manage that, helping them feel like we're going to get through this, and holding their hand. This is a lot slower pace. We do this for a lot longer in this world than my EMS world, where I may only have you for a couple of hours. But it's still helping people. It's still just loving
It
people
is.
and caring about them.
I love that. And being professional friends.
Exactly. Being professional friends.
That's my biggest takeaway today is I love this. Professional friends. I love it. I love it.
I'm glad you like that. That's what
All
we
right,
are.
Jeremy, is there any other part of your story that we did not talk about today that we need to share to color in all the pages?
Man, I mean, there's so many different things. If I could, I'll tell you, you know, I am a Christian, and I just believe that God created opportunities for me that I had no vision for. But I did have to be willing to listen, and I did have to be willing to work hard and meet Him halfway. This wasn't easy. You know, if you're going to be in that double duty time and you still want to talk about work-life balance, it's not going to look good. There is an investment that you make in yourself that gets you to a better place. And that doesn't feel like a balance in the moment. But I don't know that it's ever really balanced. To me, it's all just
Why we
life.
learn about counterbalance, right?
That's
Sometimes
right,
we're
it's
here and sometimes
counterbalance.
we're here.
If you want the outcome that you want, you do have to put in the work to go do it. And it ultimately can get easier, and it does. Lead gen is much easier for us than it is for a new agent. You know, I don't have to work on the houses anymore. I do have a lot more free time. I get to go on more trips. But I promise you, the investment that I made during that 6 years and before, that's what's paying dividends.
It's hard to see it in the moment, but when you look back on it, you can always
Yeah.
see it in hindsight. So I love that.
Exactly. And you have to be willing to see your opportunities to discipline yourself, to time blocking yourself enough time that you can love on your family and you can invest in the business that you've already established and then the new venture that you're trying to take. Real estate can get easier, but it's not easy in the beginning.
No. Although super simple. Just
Super simple.
Be a professional friend.
That's right.
I
It's a
said to bring
super
that
simple
back one more
concept.
time, Jeremy.
I love it.
Awesome. All right. This has been so wonderful and I know inspiring for so many people. So, Jeremy, thank you so much. Now,
You're so
I
welcome.
know you're the OP, but I know your wife still has a team, and I
Yes.
know that sometimes people move to Arkansas. Yeah?
Yes, they
Yes,
absolutely
people move
do.
to Arkansas. If one of our listeners has somebody moving to Arkansas, is it okay if I put your contact information in the show notes so they can reach out to you and you can connect them with the right agent, which might be your wife or someone else in your market center?
Absolutely, please do. My wife, its name is Monica Ibison. We are the Ibison Realtors and Companies, the name of our team. We also have Abby Simpson, who is our buyer agent, who also happens to be our daughter. I'm so proud of her as she's growing in this real estate career.
Family
It
business.
is a family business, and we treat our clients like family, and we would love to treat your clients like family too.
I love it. Well, I'll get your information in the show notes as well so they can reach out to you. Jeremy, is there any last parting message that you want to leave for our double duty agent listeners?
Hang in there. I know it's hard. Just do the
So
work.
good. So good. Awesome. All right. Thank you, Jeremy.
Absolutely, Carla.
Jeremy's story is such a powerful reminder that you don't have to see the entire path before you take the next step. He didn't begin real estate knowing that he would one day own a market center. He began by seeing a need, serving where he could, learning one piece at a time, and staying open to opportunities. And I hope you've heard this clearly today. The years you spend building while you're doing double duty are not wasted years. You're learning, you're developing discipline, and you're building relationships, systems, skills, and financial stability that may create opportunities that you can't even see yet. I also so love Jeremy's description of real estate agents as professional friends, because your business isn't built only during the moments when someone is ready to buy or sell. It's built during all the years in between, when you stay connected and you offer help, provide resources, and continue to care about the people in your world. So, as Jeremy reminded us, hang in there. Real estate may not be easy, but every aligned action you take today can become part of the foundation you stand on tomorrow. Before we wrap up, let's bring this back to focus. Take a deep breath and check in with yourself. What did you hear today that you need to carry with you? Where is your attention being pulled away from what matters most? And what is one aligned next step that you can take this week to move forward with focus and intention? Because this podcast is not just about gathering information. It's about helping you build momentum in your real estate business, one intentional action at a time. And I want you to know you do not have to build this alone. If you're ready for more support, head over to doubledutypodcast.com. That's where you can join the Double Duty community. You can subscribe to the Double Duty download newsletter, and you can find resources designed to help you turn limited time into focused, income-producing action. If this episode helped you, I would be so grateful if you would please leave a 5-star review. It helps other agents find the podcast, and it lets me know that what we're creating together is making an impact for you. And if there's an agent in your world who needs this message today, please share this episode with them. That is how we grow this community. One conversation, one connection, and one agent at a time. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I am so grateful for you. Keep growing, keep building, and keep getting focused for more. Double Duty by Design, your design.